Hey everyone, Shabbingham here and welcome to part number 3 of the Queen of Carnage pay-per-view tournament thingy-majiggly-diggly. The way we're going to crown our first ever Carnage Women's Champion. If you've not seen already, we've had our 2 first round videos, both containing 2 matches. And tonight we're going to have both of the semi-finals, Rosemary Vs Jazz and Nikki versus Su Yung. And sandwiched nicely in the middle is going to be Minuro Suzuki versus Hayabusa. So without further ado, let's get straight into our opening match of the evening. And here we go then. Rosemary, of course, in the first round defeated Crazy Mary Dobson in what so far was the match of the tournament. Taking on Jazz, who defeated Awesome Kong in the opening round. And Jazz barely held on really for that match against Awesome Kong, did she? Awesome Kong dominated the match for the majority of it, and then Jazz was just able to lock in one submission hold and it turned the whole match around, and that's clever. It's very, very clever by of course, Jazz to do that, really. It just shows her experience in the ring, really, and just the resilience that she's picked up over her years of competitive wrestling. But this is going to be interesting, this one. I don't know who's going to come out on top of this. Again, I feel like Rosemary deserves to hold some gold. I don't think she's ever held gold in SWE so far, so it'd be nice, in my opinion, if Rosemary did pick up the gold. But there's still a lot of people in the way. And you know what? I'd be really interested in seeing a Rosemary versus Su Yung final, but of course, a lot of things have to go our way for that to happen. But I think Rosemary versus Su Yung sounds like a very interesting match. And I wonder whether it could happen. But of course, Rosemary needs to get through Jazz first, and Su Yung needs to get through Nikki Cross, the former Adrenaline Women's Champion, which is not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. So Rosemary don't have to milk her entrance every time, doesn't she? And here comes Jazz. So like I said, Jazz defeated Awesome Kong to get here. Awesome Kong dominated the majority of that match, but Jazz was able just to lock in the submission just when it needed to, and if it was the STF, wasn't it, and pull off the victory over Awesome Kong. It was quite impressive by Jazz to show the resilience she showed to hold on throughout the match, and then to do that, it was pretty impressive. And that sort of resilience could push Jazz the whole way through this tournament. You never know. But of course, Jazz needs to pay attention to the one person in front of her first. And that is Rosemary. Rosemary's not going to be a push-off. Neither is Jazz. The bell goes. We are underway. Which one of these two ladies will be in the final of the Queen of Carnage? Not only a chance at the Women's Championship, a chance to win the tournament, but also mainly eventing a pay-per-view, which will be the first time for a female in SWE. I'll tell you what, they're loving their weapons in these matches, aren't they? Look at that baseball bat straight across the chest by Rosemary on Jazz. Jazz hands. And again, a baseball bat right to the head by Rosemary. My God. She's really doing some damage here to Jazz. Rosemary again with that baseball bat. Right against the spine of Jazz. And how much more of this can Jazz take? She's been absolutely demolished by this bat. Rosemary just trying to get that bat to go through the ring, I think. It's getting there. Still has the bat in hand, and again, straight across the spine. This could end up being an incredibly short match. Rosemary's done an incredible amount of damage early on already. Now willing Jazz back up to her feet, and Jazz is struggling She's been demolished by that baseball bat. There's the Hurricanrana by Rosemary. There's the pin. 1. Only a 1 count. Wow. You know what? I wouldn't have been surprised if that was the 3. Based on the baseball bat attack, I would not have been surprised if that was 3. Another running head scissors, and this is very similar to the match against Awesome Kong for Jazz. She's being dominated here. But will Rosemary allow the opportunity to lock in the submission? Or is this just a matter of time before Rosemary confirms her place in the final of the Queen of Carnage tournament? Rosemary now heading up top. And again, stalking Jazz as he slowly makes her way back up to her feet. Big missile dropkick right to the face. Jazz has had literally no aggression so far at all. And there's the green mist right in the face. Into the drop toe hold. Is the green mist a finisher? Because they never seem to go for the pin afterwards. There is a head scissors. Not right got all of it actually really. It's a bit of a loose head scissors. It's going to be enough to make Jazz tap. No, Jazz manages to break free. Both ladies back up on their feet. And Jazz finally does get some aggression in this match. Just launching Rosemary across the ring via her head now. Catching Rosemary again with a boot. And Jazz is finally starting to get some aggression. You never know. Jazz heading up top. Stalking Rosemary. Oh, Rosemary caught her onto the shoulders. Spins around into an F5. Wow. Rosemary, you absolute beast. 1, 2, and 3. Wow, what a finish that was. The crossbody caught by Rosemary up onto the shoulders into the F5. And Rosemary has just confirmed her place in the Queen of Carnage final in quite dominant fashion. Rosemary, my friends, is dominating this women's division. And can either Su Yung or Nikki Cross stop her? We'll find out later on. And now it's then time for our main event of the evening. It is going to be Nikki Cross versus Su Yung. And here we go. What about a little bit of wild card action to break up the women's matches? We've got Minuro Suzuki versus Hayabusa. And here we go. Now this match has the ability to be something special, doesn't it? Minuro Suzuki picked up an amazing win a few days back against Taz. And now here he is, facing off against someone completely different to Taz in Hayabusa. And of course it is Carnage, no disqualifications, no countouts. And I think that might suit Hayabusa a little bit better, you know. Hayabusa is somebody who is high-flying, but also very, very well... very well represented with weapons. That's not even a real phrase, is it? He's very well accustomed to using weaponry. Let's say that instead. And I think that's what this match will all be about. It'll be about Hayabusa trying to create a bit of space, create a bit of speed, and just trying to basically hit Suzuki as high as he possibly can. And Suzuki's more ground and pound will try and get a hold of Hayabusa, keep him grounded, keep him low, and try and stop him from doing his wrestling. And here is the man in question, Hayabusa. Here he is. I've got to keep talking over this thing because it sounds like he's got Finn Balor's entrance music, which always buggers me over with copyright claim. But I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more Hayabusa. I don't think has he wrestled once so far, and I think he was on the losing side against Sabu. I might be wrong. He might have been on the winning side, actually. Might not have even been Sabu. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time, to be honest. If I had my paperwork with me, I've taken my paperwork to work with me so I could type it up a bit better and make it a bit clearer for me when I go through it in the past. So I haven't actually got with me, but I'm pretty sure he faced off against Sabu at the King of Carnage pay-per-view. It's pretty cool now. Our first pay-per-view was King Carnage. Our second pay-per-view is going to be Queen of Carnage. Oh, you know what? We could do the Tag Team Championship match at the Queen of Carnage pay-per-view, couldn't we? I'm thinking, actually. I might do that. I might just do that. Then at that pay-per-view, we will then have all of our champions crowned for Carnage. Women's, Hardcore, and Carnage. We're not going to have the Carnage Championship or the Hardcore Championship defended at Queen of Carnage. Queen of Carnage is a pay-per-view, but it's more of like a network special rather than actual pay-per-view. So we already just had the Carnage Championship defended last week, didn't we? So it's not much point in doing it again. So yeah, that'll be... I'm pretty sure we might have a Tag Team Championship match at the Queen of Carnage within that's a couple of days' time, isn't it? Yeah, a couple of days' time on Saturday, that'll be Queen of Carnage pay-per-view. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, we know we're going to have the Women's Championship match as the main event of that show. Of course, who's going to be in that semi-final? Who's going to be in that final? You'll have to find out later on tonight, of course. Suzuki are just pounding Hayabusa. This is what I said earlier on. It's all going to be about Suzuki keeping Hayabusa grounded. And Hayabusa trying to create some space at the moment. Suzuki is definitely in control. But Hayabusa there creating the bit of space he needed. And taking him down into that... Wow, that spiked Michinoku driver. Hayabusa now, like I said, creating the space. Springboard forearm. A hint of phenomenal about it as well. Hayabusa bringing Suzuki back up to his feet. Double axe handle to the back. Stamping on the back of Suzuki as well. Hayabusa now gets caught out there. Suzuki catching Hayabusa with a shoulder block. And now Suzuki looks like he's going to go for a weapon. I said I thought the weapons might be more of Hayabusa's thing, to be honest with you, but Suzuki looks like, yes, he's found himself a ladder. Again, something I think that Hayabusa might be better suited to than Suzuki, but Hayabusa catching Suzuki with that boot in the gut. Now Hayabusa taking Suzuki. Oh, suplex onto the ladder. And I think Suzuki might be regretting getting that ladder out now. Oh, Hayabusa's leg glitching through the ladder now. Suzuki into the barricade and catches Hayabusa with that big knee in the gut. And Suzuki completely no-selling that barricade hit. It's a pretty brutal match here between these two, isn't it? Start things off. Both guys really showing some aggression towards each other. They know how important this is. Suzuki knows that ranking points for him are going to be imperative at this point in time. I'm thinking the Carnage brand might be a little bit different next year. It's still going to be the same theme. It's going to be more hardcore theme. But I think with the more core spaces we're going to have, because of how good the roster's supposed to be, we're going to save a lot of core spaces. All the Cruiserweight Classic guys... RVD, Batista, all the NXT people got downloaded at the moment, they're all going to be already on the game, so we're not going to need as many core slots. So I'm thinking things like having Suzuki Gun as a proper stable here in Carnage could be a thing. Or maybe in a different roster, who knows. I don't think we're probably going to have we're probably going to have some other... I don't know, I just feel like a lot of this Carnage roster is, I'm not going to say trash, but... it's not necessarily the stuff that we normally go for, is it? Like, it's nice to have the ECW core to this roster. But I feel like there's maybe some other people that would suit this roster a bit better and make it a bit more strong and in-depth. I don't know, we'll have to figure out. Well, once we know who's going to be on the game, of course, we're still going to have our hardcore core to the roster. Hardcore legends from around the world. Of which Hayabusa... I think Hayabusa's going to be fine. You don't got to worry about his position in the roster. It's more the likes of, I don't know, like Chris Candido maybe, or Shane Douglas, those sort of guys that we have on the roster. They look good, but you sort of think to yourself, what do we do with these sort of guys? We can have them the odd match here and there, but I can't ever see him pushing for a championship or anything like that. So it's going to be something that myself and PJ Toby are going to have to take into account, I think. Big kick there by Hayabusa. Now drops back outside the ring. Is he looking for a little bit of assistance here? He's looking at the ring for something. He's got to hold that sledgehammer. That sledgehammer's seen a lot of action over the last few days, isn't it? Right into the leg of Suzuki, who no-sells it and then does finally go down. Suzuki booting the gut of Hayabusa and catches him and locks in the spider submission. Of course, Zack Sabre Jr. is part of the Suzuki Gun stable as well. And Hayabusa taps out, and Suzuki is a master of submission in this universe mode, isn't he? A win over Taz with a Tazmission submission only a few days ago, and now a completely different submission locked in here against Hayabusa. There was that massive kick, and to see Suzuki just lock it in, that spider submission. And there we go. Suzuki is victorious. Victorious. And it's another great win for him. But of course, that is not the end of tonight's show. We still have that big women's semi-final coming up for you right now. And here we go. Which one of these two ladies will face off against Rosemary in the finals of the Queen of Carnage tournament for a chance to become the first ever women's champion? Not only that though, the winner of this match will also join Rosemary in being the first ever women to main event an SWE show. Well, main event an SWE pay-per-view. Nikki Cross, of course, got here by defeating Io Shirai quite convincingly in the opening round of the tournament. And the lady from Sanity, who hopefully is definitely going to be on WWE 2K18. That is the dream. She will be taking on Su Yung, the Asian American. As we found out in the previous episode. There's nothing that Wikipedia can't do. I didn't realise that Su Yung was part of FCW as well. The thing is, I don't know why it's a surprise anymore, because literally the majority of people have been with WWE for some period of time and left. You look at some of the best people, like Brian Cage, former FCW. I'm just looking at Lucha Underground alone. You've got who's the lady who comes out with Mil Muertes? Katrina. She's former FCW. Black Lotus is former FCW. Who else? Well, it's quite a lot when you look at it, I suppose. Ricochet is going to be WWE pretty soon, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. Ricochet is going to have a look at this and see how he feels, because at the moment, based on what's happened with the likes of Austin Aries and so forth, would Ricochet want to be involved in WWE at this point in time? Would he want to just be stuck in the Cruiserweight division on Raw? It might be something that he wants to do, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you might be looking at this thinking, well, it's actually better for me to stay doing what I'm doing. At the moment, he's main eventing Lucha Underground on TV and getting himself championship matches. He's working New Japan shows. He's working PWG at the top of the card. He's working a lot of places that really give him the juice for how good he is. And like I said, went to WWE. He'll probably be on NXT, but you can guarantee with his style of wrestling, he'll be stuck in 205 Live in no time. And at the moment, 205 Live just still doesn't really have a lot of good stuff going on about it, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, since Neville's become the champion, it has definitely become a bit better for them. But still, it's still not perfect, is it? It's still not working the way that they would want it to work, and I think that's mainly because of how they're treated. They're treated like second-class citizens. They're treated as different people. And I suppose Austin Aries has done what he wanted to do. Austin Aries has wrestled at WrestleMania in front of record crowds for the Cruiserweight Championship. He's wrestled on Raw. He's wrestled on NXT. He's done probably everything that Austin Aries would want to do in his career in WWE, but eventually they just didn't really give him the opportunities that he deserved. And in fairness to Austin Aries, he deserved a lot more than what he was given. For me, Austin Aries... Austin Aries is someone who should be higher up the card in WWE, and he never really got the best of chances in NXT either, did he? Because he got stuck in a feud with Baron Corbin, and then he just sort of floated around for a bit. He had a feud with Cien Almas, and then he had he was supposed to start a feud with Tommy, but Tommy got injured. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag, really, wasn't it, for Austin Aries, and then finally joined the main roster, but as a cruiserweight, and it was a bit of a shame. And it sort of it almost seems like at the moment, if you are under a certain weight, your career in WWE is going to be ruined at the moment. Because I don't know if these people that are cruiserweights are going to be able to ever break free from the cruiserweight division either. Because there are people there like Neville, for example. I think Neville has the ability to be higher up the card, and I think if I had Neville from PJ Toby, I think Neville in my card would not be in the cruiserweight division. He'll be part a little bit higher up, hopefully. And yeah, I feel like Neville's a real top class, but when you look at people like Cedric Alexander, again, somebody who could easily be going for Intercontinental Championships and so forth. I mean, I think he should be going for Intercontinental Championships. You've got someone like... who else have you got? Rich Swann, full of charisma. There's that big punt by Su Yung. And Nikki Cross getting caught with a rake in the eyes by Su Yung. Clubbing blows to the back, and Su Yung taking Nikki Cross up on her shoulders. This is how she defeated Kairi Hoyo. There it is. The Death Valley driver, leg hooked. And it's Su Yung versus Rosemary at the Queen of Carnage to become the first ever Carnage Women's Champion. Wow. Wow, wow, wow indeed. Oh, look at that punt right to the head, and Su Yung is just so dominant. So dominant. Now, I think what I might do, like I said, we are going to finish SWE with Shabby Mania. So what I might do is the two ladies that have finished, that have been knocked out in the semi-finals, are going to wrestle for 3rd and 4th place. 3rd will be given the #1 contendership status for the Carnage Women's Championship, and 4th will leave with nothing. So that's it, guys. We now know our main event of the Queen of Carnage pay-per-view. Rosemary versus Su Yung to become the first ever Carnage Women's Champion. It's going to be in 2 days' time here on Saturday. I hope to see you all there. Of course, if you have enjoyed it, like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. And I shall see you very, very soon for the finale of the Queen of Carnage. Bye. The 1, 2, 3.